Let me start by noting that the oil industry claims that the underlying bill will reduce gas prices. Well, if that's the case, it was the first time in my 23 years in the Congress that I have ever seen the oil industry lobbying for something that would ostensibly lower their prices. And I find that hard to believe. But there's one thing that is clear, that the United States is nowhere close to breaking its dependence on foreign crude oil. In 2014, the U.S. imported an average of 7 million barrels of crude oil a day. That includes over 3 million barrels a day from the OPEC cartel and nearly 2 million barrels a day from the Persian Gulf. Now, every time I see the TV ads with the nice young lady saying, we're going to create American energy independence, I think the average American who looks at that certainly believes it's independence from all of that foreign oil that we are dependent on and often seem to send our sons and daughters abroad to fight for, versus independence to open up more federal land and water so we can export that oil to other places in the world. So there should be a little truth in advertising. I don't think any American thinks that the idea of creating energy independence is to drill more federal land and water so we can take it and export it abroad. I think Americans would be appalled to know that we're considering exporting U.S. oil at a time that we're still reliant on foreign oil. To know that instead of investing in U.S. refineries and creating good-paying jobs at home, that we're considering a policy that would send those jobs to refineries overseas. Now, the reason Congress enacted the export ban in the first place was to help America achieve energy independence in the face of volatile and undemocratic global markets. Now, oil is a global market. To put our oil out there does not ensure that it will ultimately be sold to our allies. It does not ensure that it will be sold to our allies. It's, the highest bidder at the end of the day. So it's not like directing it to Ukraine that may need it so that it can be free from Russian interference, or to Europe so it can be free from Russia's interference or others. That's not the case. So given that my amendment simply requires that prior to lifting the export ban, the President must certify that the U.S. is producing more crude oil than it needs for its own consumption, which then would truly be energy independence in America, I hope my colleagues will support the amendment.